environment, right? So he is actually your new faculty, okay? So senior faculty for environment as well as ethics people. Ethics I think has been done. Environment today first class, correct? Okay. Name Lakshmikant but not positive. Because this year less number of questions in politics, Lakshmikant has changed subject.
All right, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. This you can keep the chat open. Yeah. All right. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Online students. Yes. Good afternoon. So this is going to be our first session for environment, right? Can you tell me how many subjects have been covered till now for your batch? Geography is done. Very good. Okay. Any other subject? Sorry? Economy. Okay. It is going on. It's going on. Okay. Okay. So if geography is done, then you are going to be like very comfortable in these sessions, because environment is basically a subset of geography only, right? Yes. So what we are going to understand in the first session, it will be kind of introductory session. We'll try to understand the basic things, that why this particular subject has been added in your syllabus, and what is actually the syllabus is, and then we'll try to understand how to approach to this particular syllabus or this subject. Okay, the study material that we have to read up, and then we can say that what current affairs material or sources we have to refer, right? All these things we'll see, and in the second half of this session we'll start with the first topic itself. All right, is this fine? Okay, so at the lighter note, we will start that I will ask you one question, that why this environment as a subject has been introduced in your syllabus, why it is important to study environment subject for a civil servant. Can you tell me? Yes, online students, just write the things in the chat box. I am reading here, I am also watching you directly, don't worry. Okay. Yes, tell me.
Environment is a part of the society, it makes sense to learn about the environment.
Okay. Uh, Fine. Okay, as a part of society. But can you be more specific?
If you're talking about the administrative part of the exam that we're talking about, it could deal with the pollution,
Very good. Very good.
people that are in the forest area and the tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be helpful for us to make informed decisions.
Right. We can say that. So basically, in a society, we are facing so many problems related to environmental issues, right? And as an administrator, you are supposed to deal with them. You have to solve them, right? Those challenges. So we can say that when we are talking about why aspect, that why we need to learn environment or ecology. So first and foremost thing is that as a civil servant, you are going to deal with these challenges or solve those challenges. Like she mentioned, it is like, for example, environment pollution. We can say that environment pollution, one aspect. Any other aspect that you can add here? Yes, online students. Yes, we can say that wildlife conservation, wildlife and forest conservation. So in this examination, we can say that forest conservation. Right, as a civil servant, you are supposed to work in this direction also, right? Anything else? In order to deal with disease control, yes, we can say that nowadays you can see zoonotic diseases. Any particular example from Kerala? Very good. Brain eating amoeba. It was in news. So, anyone remembering the scientific name? Anyway, ठीक है, नहीं पूछेगा UPSC. UPSC will not ask the specific scientific name. Brain eating amoeba, general name you can just remember it. Now, That is one example. Any other example? Very good. Nipah virus. Again, some outbreaks can be seen in Kerala itself. Now you can see that when such kind of outbreak is there, the administration is supposed to take certain actions. For example, containing the area from where the patients have been found, then screening of all the people living in that region, then putting some restrictions on movement of those people, isn't it, inside and outside that area. So all these steps are supposed to be taken by the administrators, civil servants, so as to stop this. You have seen that in COVID pandemic, right? So COVID, or we can say that COVID virus is also supposed to be, kind of zoonotic disease, or we can say virus moved from some animals, or we can say fruit eating bats to human population, right? So to deal with that diseases, very good example. Further, what we can add here?
Sir, irrigation dams.
Irrigation, very good.
Dams for people.
What about that? What will happen after construction of dam? May happen, but because of dams there can be submergence of forest area. It can result in displacement of some habitations, tribal people living in that forest area, forest dwellers. So there can be protests by them. There is need of appropriate rehabilitation, relocation and rehabilitation because of such large infrastructure projects. When such large infrastructure project is undertaken, there is something specific procedure is carried out called as EIA. Have you heard about it? It is your syllabus topic in mains examination for environment. EIA, Environment Impact Assessment. It is Environment Impact Assessment. So any large infrastructure project, before carrying out that, we need to have EIA carried out for that project. How it will impact the environment, how it will impact the people living in that region, their livelihood. So everything is supposed to be assessed first, and based on that assessment, based on the cost benefit evaluation of that project is carried out. Understood? Again, as an administrator, you should be aware about that EIA process. That's why in mains examination, it is the syllabus topic. Very good point you have mentioned, Ramesh. Disaster management. Disaster management. Isn't it? So basically disaster happens, especially natural disasters happens from natural hazards. Like for example, floods. Right? So flood is a natural hazard, but when it happens in a densely habitated population, it becomes a disaster because many people are vulnerable, and because of that what will happen? It will result into so many deaths. Okay, people's life is at stake. So because of that what will happen? It is responsibility of administration to deal with such situation. So when there is a disaster, let's say floods, so what administration will do during the floods? Yes, first before the floods there will be so many alerts, right? So it is dissemination of that alerts to the people through certain medias. It can be through radio, television, and even nowadays your mobile must be ringing suddenly. Tang, आवाज आता है ऐसा कुछ? What is that? NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority. They have basically devised this, let's say, emergency alert system. Is this clear? So basically it is part of administrator, and when tomorrow you will become a district magistrate, basically you are a crisis manager of that district. Okay, so you are a crisis manager, any kind of crisis, including disasters. So let's say, for example, you are posted in a coastal district of Odisha as a district magistrate. So which natural hazard is very common there in the coastal Odisha? Geography. So I said common. Tsunami is not common, right? Yes. Every year we see tropical cyclone along the eastern coast of India. Especially, we can say that coast of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh is more vulnerable. Now, as a district magistrate, or we can say that the head of administration of that district, suppose let's say the landfall of that tropical cyclone is going to happen in the coastal area of your district itself. So you need to mobilize the district administration and its machinery so as to evacuate the people, and then emergency evacuation of the fishermen who are into the sea, issuing alerts, ensuring that some kind of basic facilities like we can say that the shelter homes and the food and we can say blankets, everything, medicine is made available to those who have been evacuated. Now, when there is landfall of cyclone, immediately we need some kind of preparation. What kind of preparation? Because of landfall or strong winds, there will be destruction of communication lines. So, communication is very, very important, and power lines. Both needs to be resumed first. So, immediately we work on that aspect. And then as a long-term aspect, whoever, let's say their houses have been damaged, or let's say cattle has died or crop has damaged, for long term there is compensation by the government. This is how administration is working during disaster. So when you are posted there, you must be aware about what kind of disasters are affected in your, or we can say your district is affected, isn't it? So that's why you should be aware about the environment. Now let's say you are posted as a Indian Foreign Service Officer. Okay, now how you should be knowing about the environmental issues? Why you should be knowing about the environmental issues? Very good. Illegal mining, one let's say a person has mentioned that illegal mining, that is also affecting the environment, isn't it? So it has severe impact on the environment, we can say that, and that's why you should be dealing with it very strongly, right? Policy implementation, yes, it is true. Policy especially related to environmental pollution related policies, right? Air pollution, water pollution related, let's say laws and rules, regulations, we need to implement them. Yes, as an IFS officer.
So sometimes, like this is my guess, but sometimes like people can bring the endemic species of other country into which smuggling of species can happen, and that can introduce invasive species into some place.
Example is correct, but that authority is different. That authority is Customs Department. You know Customs Department? IRS Customs Service, that is posted at ports and airports, right? And those who are coming inside the country and outside the country, they are checking basically. And when they find that, okay, someone is illegally transporting that, let's say, pet, or we can say any kind of, let's say, valuable, we can say that animal, let's say, skin or something like that, right? So that will be confiscated from them. And who is alerted later on? The forest officials, or we can say Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. All these institutions are there. Let's not go in detail of that now, but yes, the point is correct. What I am trying to say here, Indian foreign officers, they are going to be a kind of diplomats, right? And they are also posted in UN organizations. Now, one of the important aspect is related to climate change, right? So international agreements related to climate change and India's commitments towards it, like United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Every year there is one conference of parties, meeting happens in November month, and all the leaders around the world, they meet and talk that how we should deal with climate change. Paris Agreement, you may have heard about it, 2015, related to climate change. Okay, we are going to talk about that, learn everything in detail. But here, when you are supposed to be posted in United Nations organizations like UNEP, okay, UN Environmental Program. So basically there you are representing India. So you should be aware about what is this policy, what are the international frameworks. So basically it's not only the IAS officer that should know about these things. All different services somehow have these responsibilities. So that's why they have added this. And you can see in future, India being a developing country, has some kind of obligations. What kind of obligations? India is now the largest population country around the world. Something that we should not be proud of, isn't it? But still we are now. Now you can understand that we need to take care of our population, and for that we need economic growth. We need economic growth, right? We need employment to the people, and for that purpose we need resources. What resources? Natural resources, energy resources, minerals. So we need to extract them. But just now you said no mining, we need to reduce mining and all these things. No, we were talking about illegal mining. Okay, so basically there is a pressure of reducing the harmful mining, or we can say excess extraction of those minerals, unsustainable practices in mining. So that needs to be balanced with what? Environment protection, because there is obligation for environment protection also. Can you imagine if we completely remove the coal and iron ore from inside the earth in India, how India will look like? It will be a barren land without a tree. Okay, you may have heard about endangered species, okay, and critically endangered species and all these things, right? Animals. So already they are threatened, and you can see that there is rampant felling of trees, that too illegally. Okay, now let me tell you one thing, you may not be aware about this. Let's say you have planted a tree inside your house or your backyard, okay, and that tree has been there in last 20 years. It has grown like people tree or banyan tree, let's say 20 years 30 years it has been there. Now it has been there in your backyard, तो आपके land पे है ना ये, okay, land is yours, but still you cannot cut it. You know about this rule. You cannot cut it without permission of government. This is how the rules are very strict, but still we can see that every day the people are cutting trees. Even the government itself is cutting more number of trees than the sanction or permitted for construction of roads, construction of railways, airports, bridges, large infrastructure projects for mining purpose, isn't it? Now, as we are in, let's say, Bangalore, Karnataka, which important, let's say, ecological area we have in Karnataka? Sorry? No, in Karnataka I am saying, overall. Which hills we have? Huh? Larger hill range of Western Ghats, no? It's a Western Ghats, right? So now you can imagine it is, we can say, a fragile ecological system. It is also a biodiversity hotspot. And at the same time, most of the minerals are there in Western Ghats itself now. We have iron ore there, Kudremukh, Baba Budan Hills, just now we mentioned, Baba Budan Hills are there. So there we have iron ore. Now, this is how there is a pressure. We need iron also, and it will threaten the forest and the animals living in that region. So how to balance that? It is the challenge in next 20-30 years till the time we become Viksit Bharat by 2047. This is the target that we have kept for ourselves, isn't it? So that's why we need to learn a basics of, we can say that, environment and ecology. Now, when we are learning this, actually what syllabus says? Tell me. Now you must have gone through the syllabus at least for prelims. What syllabus says? Yes, what is the syllabus? This is not the syllabus for prelims. That is the subject. Exact syllabus is general issues in environmental ecology environmental ecology, biological diversity, and climate change. That does not require subject specialization. Now, what does it mean, subject specialization? That does not require any postgraduate level study, we can say that. Subject specialization. This is the syllabus topic. You are not aware about this syllabus topic? You must mug up the syllabus topics or syllabus. It should be printed and posted on in front of you at your study table. Okay, there should be generally 3 syllabus copies or prints available with you. One at your study table at home, one inside your bag, and one, we can say that, inside, let's say whenever you are coming here in the classroom, you can have here, or if you have a library or study room, you can keep it there. So that means every time you should have syllabus with you at every place, because that is, we can say that, the direction for your preparation. Otherwise, if you have simply the textbook, you will start reading line by line without any perspective, without any direction. Okay, so we are studying everything and everything to clear this examination. Keep this in mind. Okay, I don't want you to be environmentalists. I want you to clear this examination. So whenever we are preparing, we are studying, we should study from that direction. And this word is very important, does not require subject specialization. Okay, so 3 things are mentioned: environmental ecology, biological diversity, and climate change. So basically whole syllabus revolves around these 3 concepts. Okay, these 3 concepts. So we'll learn about them in detail. What mains syllabus says, mains examination, in which GS paper it is there? At least you tell me this. It is there in 3, right? Okay, GS 3 paper. What is the syllabus saying? Very good. Conservation. Then environmental pollution and degradation. Environmental pollution and degradation. And environment impact assessment, EIA. Now, the syllabus is very small, but the subject is itself very large. That is the main challenge. Okay, so first we have learned why learn this particular subject. Then we learn or understood what is the syllabus of this subject, and then we should learn about how to prepare this particular subject. Okay, now before that, I want to help you understand that why students are afraid of this particular subject. I have seen that those who have given attempt, let me tell you, you are not aware about environment subject, but those who have even given attempts and those who have failed prelims, they are very much worried about environment. Do you know why? Okay, one aspect is current affairs. So many questions from current developments. Vast syllabus. Rather, we will say that syllabus is small, but the topics which are to be covered inside it is like unending. So many things. When I say pollutants, there are n number of pollutants, no? How many pollutants we have to cover? How many sources of that pollutant we have to cover? And then its impact, and then we can say that whatever the, let's say, measures being taken to control those pollutants. So it is kind of very exhausting for the students and even directionless. Okay, so syllabus is small, and that's why students find it difficult to understand what to study. Let me tell you example. Okay, now when you learn about Indian polity, okay, so which Magna Carta or Bible that you follow for polity? That you know everything. M. Lakshmikant. Now, when I ask you for environment, can you confidently tell me that this is the only book that I have to study and I will get 90% of the questions correct from this book? Can you tell me? Even I cannot tell you that there is this book and you should read only that book. Few years back we used to tell that, okay, if you read the notes of Shankar IS or PMFIS, it is sufficient. Few years back, 4-5 years back. But now that is also not sufficient. Already that is so bulky book, but still now it is not sufficient. Rather, I would say that it is not even important nowadays. Okay. So why it is being like that? Because the subject has a blend of basic concepts as well as current developments. A blend, I am saying. Second thing is that it is very difficult for students to find the resources at one place. Pinpointed resource, the way for M. Lakshmikant is there. For modern history, what is there? Spectrum. उसके बाहर question ही नहीं आएगा. There will not be question outside it. Mostly I am saying. Okay, so it is exhaustive. It is like so many things are given in that book. But for environment, there is no one source. That's why again challenging. Very difficult to deal with questions. Then we can say that already so many problems are there. Then every year UPSC brings new problem in question paper. That problem is related to framing of questions. Every time in environment they do some kind of experimentation. What kind of experimentation they are doing? Let me show you. Let me show you the, let's say, questions themselves so that we can get the idea. Look at this question. This year, prelims, I hope that you have gone through this year's question paper. Huh? Do you have courage to go through this year's question paper? After looking at so many reels and so let's say feedback from the seniors, that paper was so difficult and all these things. Look at this question. This year's prelims question. What they have done? First they have given 3 statements. Read the command. Okay, online students, see the questions. Is it visible to you? 3 statements are given. Now look at the command of question. Which of the following relationships among the above statements are correct? So they are asking relationship among them. Statement 1 is empirically supported by, then approach is implicit, contradiction, together established premise. So students thought that, okay, we have to find the relationship. No, thereafter there is one more command. Select the answer using code given below. That means you have to choose among these also. So that means it is going to be very difficult in terms of dealing with question. Even if you know what is written in first 3 statements, still you have to think, okay, what is the relationship between them? Whether it contradicts, whether first and second statement contradicts, whether first and third statements are let's say complementing each other. So we have to find that relation, and then we have to understand that whether these relations are correct or incorrect from these 3 statements, and then identify which of them are correct. Look at this. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3. So this is how UPSC brings complex framing. It's not only this particular syllabus or a subject. UPSC brings such new framing every year, I'm telling. This is for the first time in 2026. But you must be thinking, sir, last year what was there? So I will show what was there last year. Look at this. Last year, 2025. Same page, in one page there are 3 questions of environment, and all 3 have similar framing: statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. Okay, earlier what UPSC used to ask is assertion and reason. You know about this? One statement was assertion, second statement was reason, and they used to ask whether assertion is correct, whether reason is correct, whether reason is explaining assertion correctly or not explaining. This is how the options were there. It was easy comparatively because only 2, let's say, things we have to relate. Okay, relationship between only 2. But here, 1, 2, 3. Now this is the assertion in this question. The first statement is assertion, and these 2 statements are reasons. And the options, you can see options that whether these 2 reasons are correctly explaining this one, whether either of 2 and 3 are explaining correctly this one, whether neither of 2 and 3 correctly explains first one. So extra layer of reasoning. Understood? Earlier there was only assertion and reason, 2 statements. Now there are 3 statements. Getting this? So this particular aspect makes it more difficult for students, especially for environment subject, because again, students find it difficult as their concepts are not crystal clear. Relation between cause and effect can be established when you have very good conceptual understanding. And that must have been understood in geography, I'm sure. Because geography is all about cause and effect, relationship. Isn't it? Why cyclones are observed, more cyclones are observed in Bay of Bengal as compared to Arabian Sea. Reasons, right? One is empirical fact that more number of cyclones in Bay of Bengal, and reasons, there are like different reasons are there, isn't it? So you should be aware about, let's say, why students are finding it difficult. But yes, of course, there is, we can say that, solution to this. What is solution? When there is a problem, there must be solution. Otherwise, UPSC will not ask such kind of question, no? What is the solution then? What do you think? When you face a challenge, what do you do? Any kind of challenge that you face in your life, what do you do? Very good. You face it. You face that fear. Okay. Instead of, running away that I will keep environment subject optional. Okay. I will skip those questions in exam. Some people can have that strategy, but that is not going to help in the examination. Why? Because almost 15 to 20 questions on an average are from, we can say, environment. Or if you ask combinedly from geography and environment, they are around 25 to 30 questions. Okay, so you cannot keep environment as an option, especially for prelims, because in mains the weightage is less comparatively, around 30 to 40 marks out of 250 in GS3 paper. But in prelims it is very significant, no? Right? So you face it. And how to face it? By loving it. Okay. You must start taking interest in environment subject. Okay, you must. How many of you used to watch Discovery Channel in your childhood? Not reluctantly, just father has switched on Discovery Channel, so you are watching. Not reluctantly, with interest. Very good. Now you people will find environment very easy and interesting. I am saying that. Because you have general interest, tendency to learn the things, more things about environment, I am saying. And if you haven't seen, then I would suggest from now onwards, at least a 10 to 15 minutes documentary videos of David Attenborough, very famous, we can say that, person in environment field. David Attenborough. You will find his videos on YouTube, okay, free of cost, and they are like high definition videos of wildlife of different countries, especially Africa, South America. And you will see the beauty of nature, and automatically you will start generating interest in that field. Okay, we are killing these poor creatures. We must stop. How? Let's try to understand and read about it. Which are these laws? Which are the policies of government? Automatically you will start feeling compassionate towards these animals. Do you know that it is our fundamental duty to protect and have compassion towards all living beings? You will learn that in polity. Okay, it is our fundamental duty, right? So yes, what I am trying to say is, okay, this is general thing I am saying. Okay, some people will say that I don't want to have interest. Why sir is forcing me? Okay, no problem. Then be practical. How you can be practical? Try to understand based on the PYQs, what are the repeating themes in environment subject. Okay, UPC itself gives you clue for next year's preparation. Okay, if you see last 20 years questions of environment, you will get the idea that certain areas are fixed. Okay, for example, I will tell you what are these themes. First, we can say that pollution or pollutant related. So they will ask 1 or 2 questions minimum on environmental pollutants, their sources, their impact, whatever it is. Okay, like for example, let me show you one question. Look at this, 2025, last year question. Right, look at this question. Cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses, car tires, how many of them contain plastic? It's very standard question, but can you find these sources in one book at one place? Plastic pollution, everyone knows plastic pollution is problem. Everyone knows that sources of plastic is carry bag or whatever the, let's say, the things that we are packaging material and all these things. Plastic everywhere we are using. Have you heard about these sources? प्लास्टिक बर्ड में, सॉरी सिगरेट बर्ड में बट्स में प्लास्टिक हो सकता है, कभी सोचा है? होता है एक्चुअली, यू नो दिस. देन आई ग्लास लेंसेस, उसमें ही प्लास्टिक होता है, फाइबर होता है, ये फाइबर के जो प्लास्टिक ही है इनडायरेक्टली. कार टायर्स, वन में थिंक यू सर ये तो रबर होता है ना. Okay, but that is a natural rubber. There is also synthetic rubber, something called as synthetic rubber, that will have plastic. So, but you will not find that in one place, no, one source. All three mentioned at one place, sources of plastic. That requires extra efforts from your side, our side, and that is going to help you in dealing with such kind of questions. So, you need to understand theme. Now I have understood, okay, every year they are going to ask one pollutant, sulfur dioxide they have asked, or let's say nitrous oxide they have asked PM 2.5, PM 10, so particulate matter, I'm saying that. Okay, so when you know this thing, why don't we have a table of all those important 15-20 major pollutants and their sources, and then their, we can say, impacts and the control measures. I'm going to give you that, don't worry. In the classroom we are going to discuss it. As much as possible we will try to see the sources and everything. But yes, on your side also, why don't we use the smart use of AI and Google? Nowadays we have so much of, access to fast resources, I'm saying. Earlier when there was no AI, there was Google and scattered resources. Now you tell AI, especially the paid version, Okay, stop using the free versions of AI. Why I am saying this? Because after certain time, the free AI will not give quality material. Okay, they will give general things unless and until you give a pinpointed command to AI. Okay, so when you have paid plan for AI, then you can have very good structured material when you give command. Let's say I am giving this command: identify the most important 15 to 20 major pollutants around the world, their major sources, important sources, then its impact on human health and environmental health, and the control measures in a tabular form. It will give properly in tabular form. Simply copy it, paste it in the Word file and make it a PDF and use it as a study material. Okay, or you can take a print and value addition can be done mechanically also. One thing that you have understood from the PYQs, that is theme. Once you know the theme, then it is very easy for you. See, I am trying to solve the problem that most of the students are facing, that is related to what to study. Okay, so similarly we have theme related to species, what kind of species they are asking, especially critically endangered species. These things they keep on asking 1 or 2 questions, or they will ask protected areas, national parks, tiger reserves. Ramsar sites is a favorite area. Ramsar sites. Every year or every alternate year they will ask Ramsar sites. Okay. Or especially international initiatives. Outcomes of COPs of, we can say, UNFCCC, climate change related initiatives. Every year they will ask. So whenever there is a COP happening in November month, almost for 15 days in newspaper you will see that these countries have announced this initiative. India has announced this initiative for deal with climate change. We can make notes from it because UPSC is going to ask question on this. That is very clear. So that's why we need to understand the clues or repeating thing from the PYQs. And here we need to use internet and AI so as to have some kind of extra efforts. We can say that from our side. I'm telling you, any other subject does not require that efforts, but this environment subject only requires that effort. Okay, even any teacher, I am with guarantee I am saying that any teacher cannot claim that I have taught this in our classroom nowadays, the way they are asking question. But what teacher can do? Teacher can help you in the right direction, minimize your efforts, minimize your time investment, and maximize the output. And of course the basic conceptual clarity is very important. On that only we can build up the things, right? डर तो नहीं लग रहा है? Okay, don't get afraid of it. Of course you will try to understand ki how it is interesting once we start learning environment and ecology concepts. Online students, yes, you are with me? Okay, now let's try to understand how aspect, how to approach. First of all, I will say that study material. Yes, study material. First of all, the NCERT. Which NCERT? Very good. Class 12th. Biology, last 4 chapters. Last 4 chapters are related to environment. Very, very important. They will basically build the foundation. And if you have had the PCB group in your 12th standard, it will be kind of familiar things. You may have read NCERTs at that time also. Then second, same NCERT but 11th standard, chemistry. And there is one chapter in this NCERT called as environmental chemistry, which deals with, we can say that, some kind of pollutants, reactions like photochemical smog, acid rain. So those chemical reactions and all these things are there. There was once question in mains examination about photochemical smog. Okay, so we had to explain the chemical reactions also there. So it is expected that you should read this particular chapter, environmental chemistry. Okay, then thereafter we can say that third resource that you should read. See, I wouldn't suggest now any coaching material like earlier we used to do, but now I want you to read one standard textbook. What is that textbook? A textbook for environmental studies. Have you heard about this? By Eric Barucha. Very beautiful, very simple to read. It is basically by UGC. Okay, a UGC framework, we can say, for first year, let's say graduates, BA in environmental science. For them, for those students, it is a textbook, but our syllabus aligns with this textbook. Basic concepts will be very clear from this textbook. Start reading this textbook from now onwards. First read these 3-4 chapters. It will not take much time, and thereafter start reading this book. Thereafter in classroom, I will give certain dictation material. We will have classroom notes also. Okay, so that will be value addition material, especially for your mains examination, because that requires some analysis as well. So major environmental issues and challenges and how to deal with them, that requires analytical thinking. Okay, so that we will try to cover in the classroom. Okay, so this is how the study material. Now the way you mentioned current affairs, here it is challenging. So what to do in current affairs? So in current affairs, okay, which newspaper you are reading now? The Hindu or Indian Express? Either of it you can keep on reading, but The Hindu is very good for environment, because they cover most of the news from the southern states, and they are having important environmental issues, or we can say that biodiversity hotspot, biodiversity, everything. So be it Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, or let's say Kerala. So when we read The Hindu newspaper, they are giving more information about the happenings in these states, right? So then second is magazine. If possible, you can read Down to Earth magazine, or you can refer to the articles on website also. Okay, Down to Earth. I guess it is bi-monthly magazine, after fortnightly, 14 days or 15 days, every 14 days they will give new edition. So, but it should be read after, covering all these aspects. If you are not finding time, then don't read it. Why I am saying this? Because in the end, when we are providing you a yearly compilation or monthly compilation of current affairs, so most of these things are referred. Okay, so they are covered there. You can simply follow monthly current affairs booklets and yearly compilation. That will be sufficient for current affairs. How to make smart use of current affairs is very important. Again, whatever we find the micro themes from, we can say PYQs, from that only we should read the current affairs. Now, there is a tendency by even coaching classes that we have to cover everything because UPSC can ask anything. UPSC can ask anything. So we will cover everything so as to claim later on that we have covered it. It was there in our magazine. You haven't read it. That's why you failed. So next attempt, come and read this. This is a tendency. It's not like we can say, but you can see from the student's perspective, it is very difficult. Every now and then the researchers and scientists are finding new species in Western Ghats. Every day almost. So do we have to read every species and remember its name and everything? No, right? This thing we should understand. Otherwise, it is going to be very, very challenging, okay, to remember the things. And that's why I'm telling you, go through the PYQs and see what kind of species they are asking. Whether it is very unique in terms of its characteristics. I will tell you why they asked one banana tree that has been discovered in Andaman and Nicobar. They had asked in the prelims examination. That banana tree is very tall and very large bananas are there. It is very unique wild variety. Now that can be used, that genetic information can be used by the scientists to modify the existing banana trees that we have, and the large size bananas can be grown. It is very significant. Okay, it is significant from science, agriculture, everything. But if there is, let's say, discovery of very small insect in Western Ghats, let's say it's not major discovery, we need not to remember it. Okay, so this is how we should let's say try to read the current developments and use for our examination. Any doubt related to preparation aspect, syllabus?
So the standard book, I think we will refer to PMF.
Yes, that's what I'm telling, that two things. See, PMF and Shankar, right? Shankar IS notes. Though both are notes, basically both are coachings, if you know this thing. Okay, they have basically printed them as books now, right? So I will tell you about both books because I have read both now. I will tell you pros and cons of both. Okay, so PMF very comprehensive, but very bulky, very beautiful in terms of mix of colors, so many photographs of species, colorful photographs, but at the same time very costly because it is bulky, it is, let's say, colorful, so they will increase the cost, right? Second thing, it is covering everything, almost all the species, protected areas, all the international conventions, laws, rules related, everything. And it is very, let's say, interesting to read also. Why? Because it is in point format. It is in point format. So it is easy to remember. One can highlight and remember the things. Already they have, highlighted with different colors the important points. Already. So that becomes very easy. But it has con. What kind of weakness? Everything cannot be in point format, no? Concept cannot be given in point format. And here it lacks. Basically, conceptual explanation is not good in that. It is good in Shankar's. This is the difference actually. Okay, so those students who have already read Shankar's, generally we tell them ki go through the PMFIS ones. But as you are a starter, I would say you can choose either of them, only one. Only one. Either of it, almost 70 to 80% of content is same. Okay, appearance is different, I'm telling you. Okay, appearance is different. Is this fine? You can refer. But again, I'm telling you, in last 2-3 years, questions are not being asked from that source also. That's what I'm telling. You should have strong basic foundation and you can build upon that with the help of these resources that we have taught. Okay?
Sir, I already have that PMF book. So can I, like, now instead like this undergraduate course for
Mm-hmm. No, no, those who have started reading PMF don't change. Then read that only. Don't buy also. Because, see, why I'm telling this, because when you start reading Eric Barucha, no, it's a novel, kind of novel. It's a kind of very lucid flow kind of thing, story time. So it will generate the interest, no, and I also cover the basic concepts. That's why I was telling you to read that. During our times of preparation, we had read this book actually, and even now itself, now also I am asking you to read. The reason is it will build a strong foundation, and it is not going to take much time. But still, I am telling you, if you have already bought these books, you can continue reading, not a problem. And I am here to help you in terms of any simple silly questions. Koi bhi question hoga, you can ask in the classroom. Okay, so we'll try to solve it. All right, so let's start with the first session. Basics of environment and ecology. Basics of environment and ecology. Okay, so in basics of environment and ecology, we'll try to understand some concepts or terms. First, we'll talk about ecology. Okay, ecology. So, what do you mean by ecology? Yes? Study of environment. Any standard definition? Okay, in general, we can say like this. Yes, study of interactions between components. Which kind of components? I will add one word in that definition, that is scientific study. Scientific study of interactions between the biotic and abiotic components of ecosystem, we can say, that is called as ecology. Right, I am going to dictate basic things to you, so don't write anything now, don't worry. Okay, basic things I am going to dictate, so that you have some kind of study material to revise also, and your attention should be at board now. Okay, because that will provide you more, we can say that, understanding. Otherwise it will disturb you. Okay, scientific study is very important. Why? Because this is a kind of scientific discipline. Ecosystem and environment are very simple general concepts, but ecology is a kind of field to study. That's why it is a scientific study. Now this term has been given by German zoologist Ernst Haeckel in 1866. In 1866 he has given this term, and this term has basically, it is derived from two Greek words, which are these: oikos. Okay, oikos means what? Home. Its exact meaning is home. And second term is, we can say that, logos, which means study. So essentially it is nothing but the study of home of species or animals. We can call it as ecology. The term oikos, home. Is this clear? Ecology, definition, it is the scientific, we can say that, study of interaction between biotic and abiotic components. Now this is ecology. Now what is ecosystem? Let's try to understand this. Or before that, environment. Then we will go to ecosystem. Environment. Yes. So environment is what? A sum total of all the happenings, or we can say all the surrounding elements of an animal throughout its lifetime. We can say that it is going to be environment. It will be called as environment. So that will include the elements which are living elements as well as, we can say, non-living elements. Together that will be called as environment. Sum total of. It will include phenomenon also. This is the basic difference, ecosystem and environment definition. Okay, both are talking about interaction between biotic and abiotic relations. But the basic difference is environment is a very simple general term, generic term, that's why we are calling it. Okay, and here it is a sum total. When I say sum total, it includes all aspect of that animal from the time that it has been born, then its development and its survival. All things are decided by these factors together, or we can say phenomenon, everything together. It is called as environment. Okay, a simple example I will tell you. When the plant is germinated from the seed, we can say that it is the moisture that is required in the soil that is there, the sunlight that is required, right? And then thereafter all the nutrients that are given by the soil, all these are abiotic factors, isn't it? And then we can say that that survival of that plant is dependent on, we can say, primary consumers, the herbivores. So who are the herbivores in that, let's say, surrounding? Everything is decided because of these factors. So together all will be basically called as environment. Okay, so when we talk about environment for human beings, we can see that everything surrounding us can be considered as environment, isn't it? But the essential component is some kind of living being should be there present. Then only we'll call it as environment. Okay, living being should be present there. If the life is not there, we'll not call it as environment. Is this clear? So suppose we are talking, let's say, atmosphere of Mars. So we don't know whether life is there or not. We'll not call it as environment yet. Okay, so this is the basic difference. We can say that which we can say environment and ecosystem. Then we can talk about is ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem. Ecosystem is, we can say that, a functional unit. It is a functional unit. Now this word is very important while defining this. Functional unit. Why I am saying that important? Because when I say functional unit, it functions or works independently. It functions or works independently from anything outside it. That's why we are saying it is a functional unit. Okay, so for example, I am saying that, okay, so ecosystem of a pond, let's say pond, there is a pond, and that pond is not affected by anything from outside. Simply we should understand that all the animals, all the, let's say, plants or anything is there inside it, it is receiving everything from that water itself. Now what we are saying here, it is a functional unit. Why we are calling it as an ecosystem? Pond is an ecosystem because it is independently functioning. When I say functioning, that means it is carrying out the 4 important functions of ecosystem by itself. We are going to learn in next sessions these 4 functions. I will enlist them now so that you are aware about this. First function is energy flow. Okay, energy flow happens through food chain. I think so. In school level, you have learned basics of these things, food chain, food web, and everything, right? So energy is flowing through food chain and food web. Second important function is biogeochemical cycles. I'm sure that you have learned them. You have learned about carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, sulfur cycle, so or phosphorus cycle. So basically, these are biogeochemical cycles, right? That is also one of the function. It is basically recycling of nutrients that is happening through them. The third important function is ecosystem development or ecological succession. Ecological succession, that means you may have also observed, I will tell you in simple terms, ecological succession. How many of you have a backyard in your let's say in your house, or backside of your house, in front of you, your house, or let's say anything at back at your village or something, hometown? You have, you may have cleared that space some time ago, and you are not using it for some long time, let's say 2-3 years. What will happen there? Automatically grass will grow there, isn't it? If you are not using yet for next 3-4 years, big trees may also grow there over the period of time. So basically what is happening, when there was nothing on that land, first there is grass, then there is trees, then we can say more number of trees, variety of trees. It is called as ecological succession. Basically, these communities of plants are replacing them one by one. Okay, in detail we are going to learn. I'm just introducing the concept. You have seen this. That's what I'm trying to relate. Now, fourth one, homeostasis. Fourth function is homeostasis. The way our human body maintains the temperature inside us through homeostasis, the whole ecosystem also maintains the stability through homeostasis. Okay, maintains the stability. That means if suppose because of some kind of external factor, one element of that ecosystem, living or non-living, has been disturbed, there can be ripple effect on the all parts of ecosystem. But that effect is basically minimized through homeostasis mechanism by that ecosystem. Simple example. What we find in the jungles of Bandipur Tiger Reserve? Of course, tigers. Of course, tigers, no? Have you seen tiger? Anyone? Real life? You have. What was your experience? Majestic. Okay. Because it is really, actually, truly majestic. I have also seen. Okay, and already I love environment, so that is not a problem. But when you see such kind of majestic animal in the wild, I am saying, in zoo you may have seen. Okay, in the wild you have seen. In the wild you must see elephant, not the trained one here outside the temple. In wild you must see. That is going to be a very different experience. What I am trying to say here, let's say in Bandipur Tiger Reserve, tomorrow, let's say I am saying, that number of tigers reduce. What will happen? Tell me. You know the things. The environment is very easy. Okay, tigers remove हो गए, कम हो गया. Yes. What is the prey base of tiger? Deers, or we can say antelopes, or we can say that buffalo, wild buffaloes and all, bison. So they are, we can say, prey base, isn't it? Their number will increase because there no one is killing them. Now you tell me, if their number increase, what will happen? What they are eating? What they are eating? Oh, grass. Grass number will come down. No. Now this is going to be a feedback to that ecosystem. that something has disturbed in this ecosystem. So automatically that ecosystem will reduce the, we can say that grass. So grass reduce ho gaya na. So there is no food available further for herbivores. There is no food available for herbivores. So they will die because of competition. Limited resource, more number of, we can say, people or animals, we can say. So they will die. Their number will reduce automatically. When their number will reduce, automatically we can say that the number of tigers that were supposed to be will be maintained now, because it has reduced no earlier. So it was a disproportionate, numbers were disproportionate. Now there are proportionate numbers. Now ecosystem is balanced. So this is how ecosystem is balancing by itself. This mechanism is called as homeostasis. But there are certain limitations, okay? The ecosystem cannot handle the large shocks. Large shocks like all the carnivores are removed from the forest. Can you imagine? All the carnivores are removed from the forest. Carnivores means all the, let's say, top predators. Tigers, leopards, cheetah, everything, everyone is removed. Can you imagine the forest? Huh? The wild safaris will be like those of Africa, that all the deers and buffaloes are, roaming around us everywhere. Itna number बढ़ जाएगा उनका. And there is no grass. Automatically their number will also reduce. So this is going to be a disturbed ecosystem. Okay. And it will take so many years. It will completely change also its functioning and all these things. New species may emerge in such situation. Existing will be wiped out. They will get extinct because the food is not available. Okay. So I am giving this as a one example how functional unit it works. As a functional unit it works. Now the important characteristics of ecosystem is that if one part is disturbed, let's say one part is disturbed, all components of ecosystem get impacted. This is the quality of ecosystem or important characteristics of ecosystem. That's why we are calling it as a functional unit. And it, we can say that maintains the stability through homeostasis. Through homeostasis. We will learn about this in detail. Homeostasis and all this. Is this clear? Ecosystem, everyone? Then fourth concept is habitat. Habitat. Habitat is like an address. It is like an address of organism, where that organism is living. That is called as habitat. Okay. So can we say that more than one number of organisms can have same habitat? They can have same habitat. A simple example, a large banyan tree can have, or we can say that house so many insects, even so many birds and microorganisms, bacteria, fungi and so many things. So basically it is the home to so many organisms. So it is basically the habitat. Okay. Now the habitat and ecosystem or habitat and environment, what is the difference? Can you tell me?
Environment is like, it is like the habitat, like habitat comes under environment. Habitat is for like any one animal or the, we don't specify the animal, but it's for one animal or one thing that is.
Simply, can we say that to call particular thing as a habitat, there must be animal or species present there? But in environment, we said that there is no necessity of or species or animal present there. This is the basic difference. Then there can be so many n number of, let's say, different habitats within one environment or within one ecosystem, we can say that. The environment can be a broader aspect. I will say that like this. This is environment, and there can be n number of ecosystems and habitats within it. A simple example, I will say that if I call Bangalore, or we can say Karnataka, as an ecosystem or environment, pardon me, I'm calling it as an environment, then I can say that whatever the number of districts we are having, they are ecosystems. Analogy I am giving, okay, or we can call them as particular habitat of particular animals also. Is this clear? Habitat and this ecosystem and environment difference, fine. Now let's try to understand the next concept. Okay, so next concept is related to, we can say that, just थोड़ा सा आगे पीछे नहीं होना चाहिए, that's why I am saying. हाँ, types of ecosystem. Quickly we'll see the types of ecosystem. Types of ecosystems, simply we can say that broadly ecosystem can be divided as, very good. ये हुआ है क्या आपका पहले? Have you been taught already this thing? 2 classes. I was told only 1 class is done. Up to what point?
Introduction. Second class was like we did the types of ecosystems. A by the components, effect of A by the components on terrestrial objects, and ecology principles and organization.
Okay, so it must be kind of revision to all of you. No problem. Okay, actually I have been asked you start afresh. Okay, so that's why I am starting from the fresh itself. Okay, don't worry, it is a kind of revision to you, and you be ahead of your time now. Okay, whatever you are reading as a resource, NCRTs and all, start reading ahead so that you have questions in the classroom. Okay, so types of ecosystem. Now give some response. No, why you are being so dull? Though you know the things. Matlab, I don't know, you know. Natural and man-made. It will be quick for us, no? Natural and man-made. Okay. Can you give examples of man-made ecosystems? Very good. Aquariums, then gardens, then okay, dams. Huh? Okay, yes, we can give that also. Yes, you can give zoo also. Okay, zoological park. Anything else you can add? Can we say paddy fields? They are also kind of ecosystems. Okay, paddy fields. Now here in man-made, or sorry, natural, how we can divide them? Very good. Terrestrial and aquatic. Within aquatic, can we say? Tell me. Fresh water, brackish water, and very good, marine water. Nothing to understand here. Now fresh water, within fresh water, can we say there are 2? Very good. Running water and still water. What is it called? Technical name? Running water is called as lotic. ये बताया आपको? Running water is called as lotic ecosystem. And still water is called as lentic. Any example? Still water. It's lakes, ponds, swamps. Right. And running water, streams or rivers. Alright. So they are lotic system. Okay. So these terms can be asked in question, no? Right. Then thereafter brackish. Within brackish we can say that mangroves, and we can say that issuing, or we can say that wetlands, right? Wetlands. These are some examples of brackish. Then within we can say that terrestrial. What we can say terrestrial? Very good. Forest. Further. Forest, grasslands, and desert. This is the classification. Basic classification is there. We need not to go in details of these ecosystems. Okay. As we can let's say further move, we will talk about more detail about mangroves and wetlands, because that will be asked in mains examination also. They have already asked twice or thrice about wetlands, Ramsar convention, what are the wetlands of international importance, what is wise use of wetlands. These terms they have asked in mains examination. Is this clear? Types of ecosystem. All right. Then we can talk about is component of ecosystems. Various components and their impacts. So components of ecosystem, in that we can divide abiotic components, right? In abiotic components we can see first light or radiation. Yes, please नागा लक्ष्मी प्लीज आप बंद करिए आपका, हाँ माइक ठीक है, मैं ही कर देता हूँ यहाँ से। ठीक है, ऑल राइट, प्लीज कीप योर लेट्स से माइक्स ऑफ. Yes, okay, just wait a minute, let me open the chat. Okay, so light, how light is impacting, tell me.
Light determines how plants produce food.
Yes, so
Also acts as a source of energy.
yes, we can say that simply if we are talking about the producers. For them, producers or autotrophs, for them we must have, we can say that light as a we can say part in photosynthesis process. So photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis, is it visible everyone? Photosynthesis, for them sunlight is required. So without light there cannot be, we can say, photosynthesis, and therefore light is required, especially for aquatic ecosystems in oceans. Let's say in oceans what we observe, that only top layer is having the light penetration, and that becomes photic layer. Photic layer is around 100 to 200 meter from the sea surface, and you can see that most of the plankton growth happens in that region only. Planktons like algae, right? So their growth happens only in that photic layer because again chlorophyll and photosynthesis. But what about the terrestrial ecosystems like plants, right? So again they require sunlight, but intensity also affects. So intensity of light, if that intensity is high, then we can say that in such kind of, we can say, situation, long root growth happens and very high transpiration rate. Transpiration is what? Movement of water inside the tree from root to shoot. Basically that is transpiration or transportation of water, and that helps in transport of nutrients inside the plants. Then we can say short stem. So these are some, we can say, impacts. basically all these factors, they act as a inhibiting factors, or we can say that restriction factors, inhibiting factors, restriction factors for their growth. Okay, so if it is low, then it retard growth, flowering and fruition. Okay, so sunlight is very important aspect for the plants. Within that also, if we talk about the visible spectrum if we talk, only blue and red lights are important for photosynthesis. So it is additional information for you. अगर आपने पहले नहीं लिखा होगा तो you can add this. Now second aspect is related to, we can say that, rainfall. Rainfall or moisture, it is very important aspect. Now what happens when there is a rain? Of course there is moisture in soil which helps for the plants to grow, soil moisture. So we can say that soil moisture is important component for plant growth. It will add certain nutrients in it, dissolved nutrients, and they are taken up by the plants. This is important aspect, isn't it? Now the soil moisture is very, let's say, unique in terms of only certain amount of soil moisture is appropriate for growth. Not too much, not too less. Okay, so that's why appropriate amount of water through irrigation is very important for crop growth, generally we are saying. And that's why different types of plants grow in different regions, climatic regions, receiving different amount of rainfall. Now one more aspect of rainfall, we can say that, is precipitation, is frost. Now what happens because of frost? Yes, it basically freezes the soil moisture. It freezes the soil moisture, and when it is freezing the soil moisture, now the water or soil moisture or moisture is not available to be taken up by the plants. So plants will die because of that. First thing. Second thing is that it freezes moisture or water inside the tree also. Inside the tree also. Now that increases basically salt content inside the tree. Why? Because salt is dissolvable, no? Now water is not there. That means the salt is not getting dissolved and not moving inside the tree. And it is not excreted. You should know that along with water, the salts, excess salts, are excreted by the plants. Have you seen the bottom part of leaves of large trees? You can see that some kind of salt is there. When the water gets evaporated, that salt remains there actually through transpiration. So this is salt, increase in concentration of. Then we can say some kind of diseases, they get affected by diseases also, like we can say canker formation. Canker formations are basically observed in those plants which are from the colder regions. They are because of fungal growth or bacteria which are disease causing bacteria. इनकी वजह से हो रहा है. Okay. Now you tell me where we observe frost, which areas? Geography is done. Online students. Yes. Frost कहाँ होता है? Where do we have? High altitude as well as तो बोलो ना, why are you afraid? It is polar regions largely, no? The polar regions will be frost affected, especially which biome in geography you have learned? Tundra and taiga, right? So which kind of forest is observed there? Yes, not broad leaves, coniferous kind of trees there, or boreal forest we have, right? That boreal forest is affected by frost. So you should be knowing which area is affected also. Then we can talk about is snow. Snow, Jon Snow. ठीक है. So how snow is affecting?
Reflects the sunlight back.
Fine.
And it blocks the leaves also when it falls, blocks the leaves so they can't access sunlight.
Okay, fine. Sunlight, and because of that it retards the growth. It retards the growth. Vegetative growth we can say. Then it is also having some positive impact. What is that positive impact? No, it basically prevents soil from freezing. Okay, this snow cover prevents excessive colder temperatures below that snow, and that's why the soil moisture is still available for plants. That is the positive impact. But the excessive snowfall will have its weight. Okay, when it is accumulated on branches of trees, what will happen? Break down, no? They will fall down. They will break down or fall down simply, isn't it? So that is also problematic. So, snow. Then what we can say further next? Next point we can add here as factors, inhibiting factors we can say, or the abiotic components. Yes, snow is done. Now the temperature, yes. Temperature is very important factor, don't you think so? Some of the animals can survive in wide ranging temperatures. What are they called? Eurythermal. Helen means salinity. Eurythermal. Okay, so they can tolerate wide range of temperature. They can tolerate wide range of temperature. Like human being. Okay, human can survive in different temperatures, wide range of temperature. बस उसको अंदर से ही गुस्सा बहुत आता है, जल्दी आ जाता है. बाहर से टेम्परेचर वो कंट्रोल करता है, अंदर का टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा, राइट? So basically there are so many such animals, especially mammals, those who have developed the homeostasis. They are able to survive in different temperatures. But many animals, rather more number of animals, are not able to survive in a, let's say, wide range of temperature. They have narrow range of temperature. They are called as stenothermal. Especially aquatic animals. Aquatic animals like fish, they cannot survive if there is small increase or decrease in temperature. Okay, and that's why we are very much concerned about this global warming, because it is also warming the oceans. It is also warming the oceans. There are severe heat waves, marine heat waves, and because of that, so many fish will die, so many animals will die, coral bleaching will happen. So that's why we are concerned. We are not concerned about us as such, I am saying, because जब तक हम पे आता नहीं है तब तक हम टेंशन ही नहीं लेते. We are not worried till the point we are, severely affected. अब तो कुछ करना पड़ेगा. We must do something. But that point has not arrived yet. But we are trying to do this for protecting the major ecosystems, oceans, or we can say that ozone layer, or we can say that especially the fisheries in the oceans. We can say that the ecosystems, fragile ecosystems like Himalayas, we are trying to protect it, because once we protect them, ultimately the impact of these changes will be less. Now tell me altitude. In terms of altitude, what we can say? Let's say you are traveling from Bangalore to Nilgiri Hills. Okay.
Higher altitude you get lesser amount of air in your skin. Air is less dense.
Air, but that is that is that affecting the trees there or something like that?
The temperature directly affects on the earth.
Yes. What happens to temperature?
It lowers.
Yes. Normal lapse rate, geography concept. As we go up in the height, there is decrease in temperature. What is that value?
6.5 degrees.
Very good. 6.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer in troposphere, right? Normal lapse rate. So as we move up along the mountains, there is decrease in temperature. And accordingly, you can see change in the type of forest or the trees. You can see transition from the tropical dry deciduous forest to tropical moist deciduous forest. Then you can come across is the temperate forest, or we can say then you can see the coniferous forest, and then the alpine meadows, and then you can see the tundra vegetation, we can say mosses and lichens and rhododendrons in Himalayas. So what is it? It is basically we can say that transition. This transition is from equator to poles based on the decreasing temperature. The same transition we see in the altitude, and we can say it is reflected in the plant and animal varieties in that region. So it is going to affect, or we can say inhibiting factor, or we can then we can say that what are the organic, ये तो सारा क्या हो गया, inorganic components and all these things. There are some organic components also, right? Which are these? Non-living organic components, micro components like we can say that protein, carbohydrates, and lipids, that is fats. They form very important aspect of ecosystem. You can see that human body is made up of these three things largely. Animal body is made up of these three things. So basically they are circulated. When the animals, plants are dying, then there is decomposition, then all that they are decomposed later on, getting added as inorganic compounds, then further through biogeochemical cycles they are entering into biotic factors. This is how they are interacting with each other, right? So then we can talk about is biotic components. Second is we can say that biotic components. Which are these biotic components? Yes, we can say first producers or autotrophs. See, in this first session or second session, as you have already written down, I think so, right? Just try to do the value addition now. If you find extra point, just try to add that. Okay? नहीं लिखा है? No, you later told me that it is done actually, so that's why I felt it will be repetition to you. No, what is need of dictation as such for this particular part? From tomorrow onwards, next session onwards, we'll have it, right? Don't worry. But for this session, I'm seeing that you have already written so many things. Huh? So it will be like Gatha Puran, right? I am speaking and you are simply listening. Why it is like it should not be waste of time. Producers. What are producers?
Produce the food.
Is it not dictated?
This is not given, sir.
It is not given.
We have covered the abiotic component, but
Biotic component? Okay, fine. So I will, let's say, cover this part in detail. Don't worry. Okay, so you can write simultaneously now. I will tell you when to stop, when to, I will dictate and all these things. Producers or autotrophs. When I am explaining any concepts, I would expect your attention here. If it is simple thing that it is not of a concept, then you can write simultaneously. Producers and autotrophs, you know that they are able to generate or produce their own food. Okay, they are able to produce their own food. Through photosynthesis, we can say that. Photosynthesis. Example, plants in the terrestrial ecosystem, algae in oceans, like for example cyanobacteria, blue green algae जिसको हम बोलते हैं blue green algae, or we can say that some of the bacteria also have green pigments, they can produce their own food, some of the bacteria, not all, right? So they are called as autotrophs. Now we can say that heterotrophs, and heterotrophs further are divided as, we can say that, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. So in food chain we learn about this different trophic levels. So primary consumers are basically herbivores. It can be rabbit, it can be simply, we can say that, the cattle, it can be the deer or buffalo or anything. Primary consumers, right? Then the secondary consumer, the one who is eating the herbivores. Okay, it can be fox, it can be leopard, it can be, we can say, anything. We simply, now they are carnivores. Okay, and the tertiary consumers are apex carnivores, we can say that, apex predators, top predators, right? Okay, now they are heterotrophs because they are not able to produce their own food. So they are dependent on whom? Autotrophs. Then third is called as decomposers. Decomposers. This is important. Okay, decomposers are microorganisms, we can say that. They are microorganisms like bacteria and fungi who are breaking down the dead organic matter. So dead plants, dead animals, and the fecal matter. So that is basically broken down into inorganic substances. This is called as decomposition. It is called as decomposition. I will give you definition of decomposition. Okay, you can write it down. It is the process through which microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, mushrooms, break down the dead organic matter, while deriving nutrition from it. while deriving nutrition from it. This dead matter is also called as detritus. It is called as detritus. Okay, this detritus is basically composed of dead plants, dead animals, leaves, litter, or even fecal matter. Combinedly, it is called as detritus. Okay, and this detritus is a raw material for this process of decomposition. Okay, if something is dying, it must be assimilated into the ecosystem, right? Into the earth. That process is basically decomposition. There are 5 processes involved in the decomposition. But before that, let me tell you the difference between decomposers, detrivores, and we can say that simply scavengers. What is the difference between these 3 terms? Anyone, any idea?
Scavengers are like example vultures and animals. They can eat it, plant and contribute convert it into inorganic such. Decomposers, they detritivores like convert it just into inorganic.
Mm-hmm.
Decomposers,
Mm-hmm.
sure about decomposition.
See, the basic difference, all they contribute to decomposition of dead matter. All they contribute. But scavengers, the way you mentioned the examples like vultures, crows, hyenas, wolves. So what they are doing? They are basically breaking down the larger dead matter into, we can say that they are eating the larger dead matter ultimately, and only small remains are there. Basically, they are deriving nutrition from it. They are taking it as a food. So bulk of the material is eaten by them. Now only small part is remaining for the work of bacteria and fungi later on. So it is, we can say that process, they involve in the process of decomposition. So ultimately we can call them as decomposers itself, as a broader term. But they are simply eating the dead matter. Okay, and through that they are contributing, not directly breaking down and we can say deriving the nutrition or contributing to something that is resulting into inorganic material in the end, not like that. Now what is detrivores? Detrivores, simply the difference is when they are deriving the nutrition, they are ingesting the dead matter. They are ingesting, swallowing it, eating it, and ultimately it is broken down. Okay. For example, simple example, we can say detrivores. You all have seen earthworm. Have you seen earthworm? So it is continuously eating the soil, right? And also excreting the soil itself. So whatever the dead matter or litter that it is eating, ultimately it is broken down and thrown away through the fecal. Ingesting. So it will ingest, digest, and then excrete. Through this process, when they are doing, it is called as detrivores. So what is the essential criteria to be called as detrivores? They must ingest dead. Okay, ingest the dead matter. There are other examples, you note it down because there was one question in prelims. Examples of detrivores. Okay, examples of detrivores. One is earthworm, just now we have written it down. Other examples like dung flies, dung beetles, wood lice, wood lice, WOODLICE, wood lice. जो बेड बग होता है ना, बेड बग, that is wood lice. It breaks down the wood actually. It eats that. Then termites, same. Termites are there. Then butterfly. Butterfly is also a, we can say, example of detrivore. Then mollusk. Mollusk, biology. Example of mollusk. Snails. Snails. Okay. So they are examples of detrivores. Is this clear? Everyone. So decomposers, all these are basically decomposers. For decomposers specifically, there is no need to ingest. Detrivores, ingest. So decomposer, for example, let's say bacteria and fungi. They are simply deriving the nutrition without ingesting dead matter. They are the real decomposers. They are called as decomposers. Like mushroom. Example of fungi, mushrooms. They are deriving the nutrition from dead matter without ingesting it. They are called as decomposers. Is this clear? Okay. Now the processes. There are 5 processes involved in decomposition. There are 5 processes involved in the decomposition. We'll write down. Yes. Which are these 5 processes? First, fragmentation. Okay. Fragmentation, as the name is suggesting, dead matter is fragmented. So can we say that scavengers are doing the same thing? Ultimately, by eating that dead matter, it is fragmenting. So write down, the larger detritus is broken into small parts. The larger detritus is broken into small parts by detrivores. By detrivores. This is called fragmentation. Okay. Now, the fragmented material will have more surface area. So it can be easily further decomposed now. Isn't it? So the second method or second process involved is catabolism. In biology, we have learned catabolism. Cata means breaking, no? Biology teacher may have taught you. Cata means breaking down. Catalysis, right? So catabolism process involves further breaking down. You can write down. Detritus is further broken into. The detritus is further broken into simpler inorganic substances. Simpler inorganic substances by bacterial and fungal enzymes. By bacterial and fungal enzymes. So here some kind of chemical reaction is happening. Some kind of chemical reaction is happening. Up till now, in fragmentation, it was a mechanical, physical fragmentation was happening. Breaking down of things. But in catabolism, the enzymes are at work. So they are doing some kind of chemical reactions here. And that's why it is resulting in some kind of inorganic substances from the organic dead matter. From the organic dead matter. Is this clear? Now third, leaching process. Okay, leaching. What is leaching as a process in geography? You may learn. In soil formation, you may have learned laterite soils are formed, they are highly leached. Tell me. Very good.
Accumulation of, I think, minerals because
Rather, removal. When there is high rainfall, so there is removal of nutrients from the top soil and they are settled at the lower, let's say, part of soil profile, right? And now they are not available for to be taken up by the plants, right? This is called as leaching process. Let's write down this one. The water soluble inorganic nutrients, the water soluble inorganic nutrients go down to lower horizons of the soil, go down to the lower horizons of the soil and get precipitated as unavailable salts, as unavailable salts. Is this clear? Now you can imagine all three processes happening there inside the soil. Are they happening in a consequential manner or simultaneous manner? Of course, simultaneously they are at work in the soil. That means the detritus is continuously worked upon through fragmentation, then catabolism and leaching. This process is simultaneously acting on the soil. Simultaneously मतलब क्या है? At a time. मतलब एक साथ में. नहीं समझे? Not understanding? Let's say this is a dead matter. Okay. Now some part of that matter is broken down. Some is still there. When that some part is broken down, next process working on that part is catabolism. But still some part is not yet broken down. So it will be there fragmentation. And here there is catabolism. Now some part of that is further broken down and leaching is working there. So on the same dead organic matter, simultaneously all three processes are there happening. This is how all three processes are at, we can say, simultaneously happening. Then the fourth is humification. See, this whole subject is new to you. So you will find terms you may have, you may not have already learned or even read about them. So that's why you may find it difficult. But I am trying to help you understand by linking it in your daily life, your experiences, so that it will be fixed in your mind. Humification, you may have heard about humus. Humus formation inside the soil. What is humus? Where it is there in soil? Top part, right? And you have learned that in geography how it is formed. Decomposition of dead leaves. Ultimately the humus is formed. So humus is basically a dark accumulation of dark colored matter on the top of soil, which is, we can say that I'm going to tell you how to write it, don't worry. Just I'm telling you what is it. It is very difficult to further decompose, first of all. Okay, it will decompose but very slowly. And second thing, it is a reservoir of nutrients. Why? Because it is in colloidal form. Colloids, chemistry. I hated chemistry. What is colloid?
there are solutions, there are suspension, but
Yes, suspended particles are there inside the liquid, right? That is a colloidal solution. Like we can say milk and what you can say,
gels.
हाँ gels, colloidal solution होता है ना, right? Emulsion, you must be thinking emulsion. Confuse हो गया मैं भी, देखो I told you I hate chemistry, but I'm telling you it is the suspended particles in liquid. This is the way nutrients are suspended in water, in this humus. Okay, and most important aspect, the plants are able to take nutrients only from these colloidal solutions easily. That's why humus is very important. Okay, so ultimately we can say that what fertilizers are also basically provided as a reservoir of nutrients. Ultimately, you know, when there were no chemical fertilizers, what we used to have? Manure, organic manure, farmyard manure. What was farmyard manure? Ultimately it was a dead litter and fecal matter. Basically it was dead organic matter, and it was decomposed for 1 2 3 years, and then we can say we were using it. Humus. Okay, so it is a reservoir of nutrients. Write down. It involves accumulation of dark colored, it involves accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance. Amorphous means powder like, amorphous substance called humus. Humus is highly resistant to microbial action. Humus is highly resistant to microbial actions. Therefore, it is further decomposed very slowly. It is further decomposed very slowly. Humus act as a colloidal solution. Humus act as a colloidal, COLLOIDAL, colloidal solution, and thereby a reservoir of nutrients, and thereby a reservoir of nutrients to be taken up by the plants. Now, fifth process is mineralization. Fifth process is mineralization. Now, ultimately, that humus is also further degraded into inorganic substances or nutrients, and they are taken up by the plants. That is called as mineralization, the final step in the decomposition process. Okay, so you can write down the humus is further degraded by some microbes, microorganisms. The humus is further degraded by some microbes and release inorganic nutrients. And release inorganic nutrients. Is this clear? Now, in the same part, we will also talk about factors affecting rate of decomposition process. Very simple concept, but we can expect question in prelims. Rate of decomposition. So, which factors affect the high rate or low rate of decomposition? Now, you tell me, in equatorial region, whether there will be high rate of decomposition or low rate of decomposition. Equatorial forest, let's say Amazon forest. Why? Yes, warm and moist conditions. So we can mention here, if there are warm and moist condition, this favors decomposition. So they are favorable. If we are talking about colder conditions, unfavorable. So in polar and subpolar region, you can see that the dead matter accumulates because it is not able to decompose. And that's why we see peatlands there. You can see Canada and Siberia, they have peatlands. Peatland means what? It is ultimately the buried dead plants. They are on the verge of getting converted into coal. Peat is the start of formation of coal, right? Formation of coal you may have learned in geography. 4 types of coals. They form in sequence: peat, lignite, bituminous, anthracite. As the time passes, okay, the earliest one is the peatland or peat. So basically coal is formed from dead, we can say, plants. They are buried, not decomposed. They are buried, and they are basically temperature and pressure changes are acted upon. So because of that it is happening. So you can see that in Arctic and subarctic regions, such kind of plants are buried, they are not decomposed because of colder conditions. You may have read somewhere in news zombie fires. Have you heard about it? It will come again in news. Zombie fires. If you haven't, then you can search. Very interesting. Who are zombies? Zombie people, how they behave? When there is no food, then they will be like lying around, no? They aren't dead, but they are lying around. Whenever they find the, let's say, people, animals, then they will immediately start, energy आ जाता है उसमें. The same manner, what happens here is these peatlands in the subpolar areas, they are basically burning. But whenever there is a winter, they are basically, overshadowed by the winter, or that fire is dousing off, but not completely yet. Again, during summer, they will burn with intense, or we can say that more fuel. Why? Because now the snow cover is removed. Now they are ready to fire again. So that's why they are called as zombie fires. So it was in news very much. Why? Because it is getting, it is adding CO2 into the atmosphere, because it is burning basically. Burning or combustion process, CO2 is getting added into the atmosphere. Right? So that's why it was in news. That term is very unique. Is this clear? Now the second aspect is related to, we can say, if detritus, it is rich in certain minerals, like we can say that chitin or lignin, they are fats, basically fatty acids or fatty molecules, chitin or lignin, then it will be having low decomposition rate. Okay, low decomposition rate. Now tell me, which plants have chitin and lignin? Plants, I am saying big plants, large plants. Right. But any particular tree is having more content. Coniferous plants. That tundra and taiga region, coniferous plants, they have more chitin content. And that's why when they die, their decomposition is very, we can say, slow, because of this content they are having. Now, if detritus is having more nitrogen, if it is rich in nitrogen, and we can say that water soluble substances like sugars, then there is high rate. Then there is high rate. Why? Because nitrogen immediately it is ready to get oxidized, or we can say through decomposition immediately. Is this clear, everyone? So the factors affecting all right. Now the levels of organizations in ecology. Levels of organization in ecology. See, you may not have direct question, but indirectly you can expect question from these. There are 6 levels, right? You already know this now. Individual or species, then we can say that population. Then what is the third level? Very good. Community. Then what is it? Ecosystem. Further, biome. And lastly it is biosphere. So this is how we can represent 6 levels from smaller to larger. Now I am going to explain this with certain analogy. Okay, how to understand it. So first one is individual or the species. So I am going to give you analogy of a small village, okay, and the household inside it, to district level, and then the state level and country level. Let's try to understand how. First of all, individual or species, any one organism. Okay, let's say tiger. Okay, one tiger, it is an individual. Okay, and tiger is a species, particular species. So individuals belonging to a particular species are able to interbreed. Okay, so we can call them as one species. The individual belonging to one particular species are able to interbreed. So we can say that that is individuals belonging to a particular species. Now, when I say a particular village is there, so I am calling a one individual household as one individual or a species in a village. Is it fine? Okay, for analogical purpose. Now, let's move to the higher organization, population. So, when I am saying population, it is the population of individuals belonging to only one species. Only one species I am saying. Okay, so let's say the tiger population in Karnataka. So that will be a kind of population. That will be kind of population. Now when I am giving analogy of village, now I am giving analogy of the households or the people belonging to certain caste in that village. I am saying certain caste or certain religion. So they are called as, we can say that, population. Example, for example I am saying. Okay, is this clear? Animals का समझ में आ गया है? Population is the number of individuals belonging to one species. Next organization is community. So community is what? Community is simply the number of living beings in a particular area. All living beings in a particular area. It will be a community. Now in a village, all households belonging to all different communities together in that village will be called as community. We say no community life or community is there. So basically that is forming a community. Now community is having the individuals of different species. So in a particular let's say forest, there can be 3 tigers, 5 leopards, 100 deer, and then thousands of, let's say, rabbits, and 500 elephants. Together, if I count 1500 animals are there. That is basically a community of 1500 living beings. That is a community. Same thing we can talk about is about the plants. Okay, that can be called as plant community, animal community of that particular region. Generally, in ecological terms, community is designated for the plant community. Generally, because the plant community is of a particular type and that is dominantly affected by the climate of that region. And the animals are dependent on it ultimately. This is done. Further, moving ahead, ecosystem. What was the definition of ecosystem? Functional unit, we said. Functional unit. Now let's say there is a group of villages, or we'll call it as a district. Now in Indian administration, we call district as a functional unit. Do you know about this? Why? Because it is independently able to work. Administration of a district under the district magistrate works independently almost. District magistrate is the head of that administration. Okay, he can regulate and steer all that administration. That's why I am giving this example, analogy. Function independently, I am saying. So in terms of, let's say, if you talk about generating the revenue, using those revenue, or we can say all the resources, or let's say whatever the agriculture produce is generated, it is sold in that district market. Everything is happening within that market or within that district only. Getting this? So same thing happens in the ecosystem. Biotic and abiotic factors, they are continuously interacting. And if any one factor is getting affected, that will have impact on all other factors of ecosystem. So it is a functional unit. Thereafter we have biome. So it is basically a larger geographical area dominantly affected by the climate of that region. Okay, biome is basically larger geographical area having particular type of plant and animal species, and that is dominantly affected by certain type of climate, I am saying. Certain type of climate. Its boundaries are decided by certain type of climate. That will be called as biome. For example, simple, savanna biome. Have you read about it in geography? Tropical grasslands, savanna biome. So its boundary is decided by its climate, right? Savanna type of climate you have read. Basically, that area is called as savanna biome. If we are, let's say, talking about the climate of tropical evergreen forest or that region, equatorial climate. Equatorial climate is deciding the boundaries of tropical evergreen forest or biome. Is this clear? Now you tell me what specific type of plants and animals you will find in equatorial region. Very tall, or you will find epiphytes there. So you will come across so many specific type of plants and animals in that region. And you can see that if that type of climate is found somewhere else, similar type of plants and animals can be found there. Isn't it? So equatorial climate is found in Congo also, Brazil also, Indonesia, Malaysia also. And you can see the plant types and the topography of those, let's say, forest regions, dense canopy and all. Same you can see everywhere in all three regions. Is this clear? So that is called as biome. Now mostly biome is referred to terrestrial ecosystems. We generally refer it to terrestrial ecosystems, not aquatic ecosystems. Why? Because aquatic ecosystem is continuously moving. It is not, we can say, stable or constant. Second thing is that it is not getting affected by climate. So its boundaries are not fixed by the climate. So generally we do not classify them as a biome. Okay, so terrestrial ecosystems, we can classify them as a biomes. Now biome is a larger geographical area. Now beyond that, if we consider a particular area, we can call it as a biosphere. For example, simply Earth as a biosphere. If we consider Earth as a biosphere, then simply we can say that it is the area where three spheres coincide. Which three spheres coincide? Tell me. Hydrosphere, atmosphere, and very good, lithosphere. These three are, and this particular region, it is going to be, we can say that, biosphere. Fine. Okay, so biosphere is the region as an we can say that intersection of hydrosphere, atmosphere, and lithosphere. Earth as a biosphere we can consider, or simply we can take a biosphere reserve as a biosphere. Which biosphere reserve is there in Karnataka? Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala boundary. Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. We have Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve here, and that complete biosphere is having different types of biomes within it, ecosystems, population, everything is there. We can consider like that. Okay, fine. So these are the levels of organization. Now few concepts I will add here, especially in ecosystem and we can say that biomes and that region. Now when we are talking about the biomes, I want to add one concept here, that is called as ecocline. What do you mean by ecocline? What is thermocline? You have learned in geography. Halocline, thermocline. In ocean water, temperature suddenly decrease, so thermocline. Salinity suddenly decreases with depth, halocline. We have learned about this. Blank spaces, how can I see blank spaces? Geography is done. Ecocline is similarly when, as we are moving from one ecosystem to another ecosystem, there is no fixed boundary. Rather, there is a transition area. When we are moving from one ecosystem to another ecosystem, there is a transition region wherein the species found in this ecosystem, their number will reduce slowly, and the species found in this ecosystem will increase slowly. This phase, this transition area, this is called as ecocline. Okay, this is called as ecocline. Understood this concept? Now, one more concept is edge effect. Have you learned about this edge effect? Nahi padha hai? Okay, I will explain. First, you write down one line about ecocline. It is a gradual change in terms of composition of species. It is a gradual change in terms of composition of species as we move from one ecosystem to another. Next line we can write, there is no fixed boundary between two ecosystems. There is no fixed boundary between two ecosystems. Rather, there is a transition area. There is a transition area or transition zone or zone of tension, also called as zone of tension. Give this next subheading, edge effect. So edge means what? Edge of something, no? Edge of area or edge of something. So when we are moving from edge of one ecosystem or one biome to another ecosystem or another biome, at the edge of these biomes, you will come across a unique kind of phenomenon. Okay, what kind of unique phenomenon? The unique phenomenon is about the new kind of species found in transition zone or zone of tension, that junction. New species, their population is much more. Their population is much more than either of ecosystems. Than either of ecosystems. Okay. Now this particular edge effect is found in, we can say that, regions called as ecotones. It is found in regions called as ecotones. Have you understood edge effect? Edge effect is basically when the new species are found in the transition zone and their population is more in either of, we can say that, compared to either of ecosystem. So for example, if you take the example of that zone of junction, or this is called as ecotone basically. Okay, zone of junction or transition between two biomes, or we can say that ecosystems. Now when I say zone of junction, now I will give examples of ecotones. You can mention here examples. Wetland. Now tell me, wetland is a junction between two distinct biomes. Which distinct biomes or ecosystem? Yes, very good. It is terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. Write down here. Between terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem. Isn't it? So whenever let's say land comes under some, let's say, shallow water, so it will be kind of wetland. But during dry period, again it will be, we can say, land exposed. So it is continuously zone of junction, zone of tension. कभी पानी है, कभी नहीं है, कभी पानी है, कभी नहीं है. That is wetland. Another example, can we give other examples? Can we say grasslands is also a kind of transition zone between two ecosystems? Which one? Yes? Transition between? Yes, deserts and tropical forests, tropical evergreen forest. So as we move from Congo to Sahara Desert, we find in between what? Savanna. In between we have savanna grasslands, no? Sudan. Then thereafter Sahara comes actually. Basically it is a transition zone. Is this clear? This is called as ecotone. Any other examples? One more example I will give, mangroves. Or we can say that brackish water estuaries. Mangroves or brackish water estuaries. What are they? Fresh water and marine water. Fresh water aquatic ecosystem, marine water aquatic. Both are different. Transition, brackish water. There we find mangroves. Now try to imagine what I said here. In these ecosystems, we say that wetlands are highly productive and animal diversity in mangroves is very high. Productivity of these grasslands is very high as compared to, we can say, desert or any other ecosystem. Why it is said like this? Because of edge effect. Because of edge effect. Okay, so productivity of wetlands. You can see that Ramsar sites in India where millions of migratory birds arrive every year. So those water birds, waterfowls we call them. So they are feeding on what? They are feeding on fish from those wetlands, those lakes. Okay, so fish is coming from something, right? Of course. So there is high productivity, and that's why they are, we can say that biodiversity, from the perspective of biodiversity also they are very important. Edge effect, have you understood? Now this unique kind of species found in that region of ecotone, they are called as edge species. They are called as edge species. Okay, they are called as edge species. Their number is more in ecotone as compared to either of the ecosystems. As compared to either of the ecosystems. Can you give examples of edge species? Which crocodiles? Especially
Go the Nile, not the Nile.
it's a freshwater crocodile, na? Huh? Think about this, no. Think about ecotone, transition zone. In terms of plant species, mangroves are having a very unique kind of plant species. Don't you think so? Sundari plant species, from the name Sundarban is there. It is found in that region only. Brackish water. It is found in that region only. Plant species I am talking. And they have unique adaptations. Don't you think so? They have unique adaptations. You may have learned in principles of ecology. Adaptations. Tomorrow, in next session, we will learn about that. Okay, so this is one example. Grasslands. Very unique kind of species you can see here. Zebra. Do you find zebra anywhere else? There only, right? Giraffe. That region only you will find, not anywhere else. Because they are evolved in that region, zone of tension. Okay, now the birds. Okay, it is said that very high population density of birds is found in wetland region. Not in forest, not in desert, but wetland. Highly productive for them. So their number is more near the wetlands. So if you are going to become a bird watcher, bird watching के लिए जाना है तो कहाँ जाओगे? Where you will visit? Which is the famous wetland in Karnataka or bird sanctuary? Very good. Ranganthittu. Right. So this is also declared as a wetland, and you should know that most of the bird areas, bird sanctuaries will be wetlands. Here onwards, you should be able to link concept with what is there actually. Okay. So this is called as edge effect, ecotone, edge species, and ecocline. Have you understood this concept? Everyone? All right. Now, the next aspect. ठीक है, anything that is not dictated in the earlier session and we have learned today, I will give brief idea about it. Definitions of all concepts done. Ecosystem, environment. Have you written it down earlier? Or else we can cover it again. These major components of ecosystem, light, temperature, everything. Have you written it? No. Written, no? I am talking earlier session, not this session. Earlier session. We have written.
Abiotic components of terrestrial organisms, light, spectrum, frost, temperature, nitrogen. Others were covered from your session.
Okay. Okay. So those frost and these things you have covered already. And biotic components you have written, right? I have asked you to written biotic components, decompose, detritivores and everything. Okay. Processes involved we have written. Okay. Factors affecting rate of decomposition, levels of organizations. All right. So, anything else that you want to ask, online students? Snow leopard. Okay. Now I will give you one task for the next session. Okay. You must go through PYQs, previous year questions for last 20 years. If you search simply online, you will get all the PYQs at one place. Okay, you can see the website of any coaching or standard material you may be having. So you can go through them and try to see all these PYQs in a topic wise manner. You can type like topic wise PYQ analysis of environment. You will get the topic wise analysis. So for this first topic, I want you to solve those PYQs. Basic concepts, what is ecosystem, ecotone, there has been questions. Examples of detritivores, there was question. Examples of decomposers, there was question. Okay, so you can prepare from that also. And the factors affecting rate of decomposition, so that we can expect the applied question there. Okay, so try to attempt. In mains examination, there is no question on this. Of course, when we learn functions of ecosystem, from there onwards, you will see in mains examination questions appear. Okay, so some feedback from your side. Are you finding session useful? Although it was a kind of repetition for you, I can understand. Okay, but yes, from next session onwards, I guess so it will be new to you. Apart from principles of ecology, other things will be new to you. Have you covered principles of ecology? No. Okay, then next session, from next session, it will be completely new to you. Okay, and I can understand that somewhere back of the mind you may be comparing the faculty. Okay, all right, so earlier faculty, what he has taught and what I am teaching. Don't worry, everyone has different way of teaching. Every teacher is always good. They are always thinking about the students, how to benefit, teach in the way that it benefits the students. Yes, I want some feedback from you also, that whether the session is too fast or too slow or fine. It is fine, right? I can see that many students, when I say that let's write down, so everyone got attentive. Is it that we have tendency to write the things more and that will help later on for revision. And frankly, you can tell me, I can understand students are more concerned about notes, because this is one time learning. No, notes are like always with you. So you don't worry about that. I will give you all the dictations the way I have mentioned you. But simultaneously, you start reading the basic study material that I have given. Okay, asked you to read. Okay, and there you will find so much of information. You will find the doubts also. You will have some doubts. You can ask me in the classroom, sir, I have read this same topic and there was mention of this thing, that thing. From the PYQs, I want you to ask me certain doubts, sir, how to deal with this question. Okay, don't see directly the answer and get comfort. Okay, I know now the answer. What is need of asking question? You just ask me, sir, how to approach to such kind of question. I will give you unique approach also, so that next time you can easily deal with the environment questions. In mains examination, what is required is three things. You can note it down. Okay. One thing, from PYQs, identify common environmental issues that are focused by UPSC. So they keep on repeating same environmental issue, like illegal mining, or let's say biodiversity loss, or climate change and international, let's say, agreements. They keep on repeating the things. Okay, the one more repeating thing is solar energy. Okay, almost every alternate year they will ask one question on solar energy, steps taken by the government of India, and all these things. So identify the common environmental issues focused by UPSC from the PYQs. Second, then important environmental issues and challenges in contemporary times. Okay, environmental challenges are contemporary issues. They are not current issues, right? Not of 1 year or 6 months. It is like 10 years, 5 years, continuously we are facing the challenge. Like deforestation, it is a contemporary issue. Wildlife extinction, it is a contemporary issue. Alien species, okay, they are introduction of alien species, we can say that is also invasive alien species especially. So that is also contemporary issue. So try to find which are these contemporary issues which are not asked yet by the UPSC. And third thing, important initiatives at national and international level. Okay, at national and international level, like outcome of COP that I was talking. Every year there is COP, Conference of Party meeting for UNFCCC, and there will be some steps taken, some measures taken for climate change, to deal with the climate change, right? So you should be knowing about them. Government of India, what steps is taking to deal with the environment pollution, air pollution. So there was twice question on National Clean Air Program to deal with the air pollution. Twice they have asked, repeated. So we get the idea from this. Okay, it's not only the pollution and issues that we have to brainstorm, also what steps are being taken by the government of India and at international level. When you understand these three things, your mains is done. Now, how to prepare for this? So for mains examination, generally I tell students that you should have micro notes. So you have your one A4 sheet. So you are giving the title, what is that environment issue. Then you are making one page note about that, like what are the, let's say, if you are, I'm giving one example, okay, deforestation is the issue. We are talking about deforestation. So what I will mention here, reasons or causes, simply one word, one or two words, point format. Consequences of deforestation, 1 2 3 4 5 6, not more than 6. Then we can say that measures taken. Okay, within measures you can talk about two types: legal measures, policy level measures. Laws are there, right? We have a Forest Conservation Act is there, Forest Rights Act is there, and policy level we have Forest Policy also 1988, right? So policy level measures. At international level, which convention is there to prevent deforestation or for afforestation purpose, like REDD and REDD plus. You will come across these terms, okay? Or international convention or UN convention of, we can say that was signed in 2014 in New York. That is called as New York Declaration. So basically, what is it? We are talking about measures taken and further way forward. What further steps are required? Okay, what further steps are required? At some places, you will add this topic also, challenges. Okay, challenges. Consequences is different, challenges is different, right? Challenges is like I told you initially only, when we have let's say large infrastructure projects like dam. So we are required to have dam for economic growth, but on the other side there will be deforestation because of that. We are required to have construction of roads, but on the other hand, deforestation. Example, we are constructing our 13th major port where huh? No, that is not a major port. Vizhinjam is not a major port. That is transshipment port. 13th major port we are constructing in Great Nicobar Island, Galathea Bay, right? So it is always in news about let's say problems related to deforestation, problems related to species extinction, and the tribal people living there, Nicobaris, PVTG, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So they are getting affected. So they are the challenges basically. How to balance it? That is a challenge that we are facing. And then there is afforestation measures also simultaneously. If you are cutting the tree here, we are supposed to plant that tree somewhere else. But there is challenge to this afforestation also. Why? Because people are planting the tree and leaving it after taking care for 6 months. What will happen to that tree later? Who will take care of it? The tree you are cutting is 100-year-old. It has given service for 100 years. And you are not even taking care for 6 months, the new tree. This is a challenge. Okay. So you can mention all these challenges, and the most important aspect is, while writing all this, you mention supporting data to those arguments, facts, examples. When you write way forward, you give examples of expert committees and their recommendation. For example, Western Ghats, for Western Ghats, which committee is always in news or it is recommended? Last year it was in news. A person died. Madhav Gadgil Committee. You may have heard Madhav Gadgil Committee, Western Ecological Panel, it was called. Last year he died. He was ecologist. Throughout his life, he worked for conservation of Western Ghats. Okay, Madhav Gadgil. So whenever we talk about conservation of Western Ghats, his committee report comes into the picture, always. And he had mentioned that out of total area of Western Ghats, 67% should be declared absolutely protected, eco-sensitive area. That was very extreme recommendation that he had given. No state was ready to accept it. Thereafter, there was the Kasturi Ranjan committee, and they reduced the let's say percentage from that 67 to 34 or 33 something, and then still many states are not ready to accept the recommendations. This is the pressure that we are having, because we are having obligation of economic growth. So data, facts, examples, expert committees, commissions, their recommendations, opinions, it should come in this short notes. Now, how many environmental issues we can enumerate? Maximum 20, 25, maximum I am saying. So that means for mains examination, your notes can be of 25 to 30 page. Your environment is done. See, I have given, at least for mains examination, a kind of technique which is very easy to implement. I am telling you, when we are done with this module, you will be able to answer any previous year question of mains examination. Okay, and we are going to write actual in classroom itself some of the previous year questions, so that it will boost your confidence. Is this clear? You got the idea how to deal with this? And let's say this is from PYQs, and let's say you got the idea that important environmental issues and challenges in contemporary times. Identify them from your newspapers also, current affairs material, and then make 1-page note, or we can say 2-page note like this. Structuring should be like this only. Issue is there, that's why the causes will be there. No, factors. This factors aspect. You can structurize within this also, the factors or reasons. There can be even man-made reasons and natural reasons also for some of the environmental issues. Like forest fire. There are natural reasons for forest fire. There are man-made reasons for forest fires also. Don't you think so? Then the consequences, then the challenges, measures taken. This is the standard pattern for mains examination. All right. So what is your task? One thing, go through PYQs, both for prelims and mains on daily basis. On daily basis, whatever Lakshmikant sir has taught today, I want to link that to PYQs. That's all. Our task should be like this only. Then only our preparation is in right direction. Fine? Any question? Yes, online students?
So the second point means important environment issues and challenges in contemporary, not yet asked by UPSC or ones that are
Not yet asked.
we do have to look out for the current affairs.
Yes, current affairs also. And if they are asked already, then we are already covering in the first point, no? Many will be in news, but already asked by UPSC. But some will be in news, they are not yet asked by UPSC. Like forest fire, there is no question yet asked. It is environmental issue. Invasive alien species, still they are not asking. We are expecting from 2 years they will ask question. Invasive alien species, IAS. You know, IAS is also called as invasive alien species. Why? Why?
One starts and another person also has fires.
IAS is not from that ecosystem, that state. He is from some other state generally. So he is coming from other state with other language, with other background, culture, and his mindset, and he is bringing changes in this ecosystem. Getting this? I'm calling this as a general term, not as a formal term. Okay. Why they are called as invasive alien species? Because like this, they bring changes. Of course, they bring positive changes. But actually in ecology, invasive alien species are negative. They are bringing negative changes. Fine. Any question? Any doubt? Yes. All right. Then we can stop for today. We'll meet in next session, and we'll cover the next part. Okay. Online students, I hope that it is clear to all of you. All right. Let us stop. Now what I will do is I will export this file also.